Welcome to the Emerging Professional Series at the Coffee Corner Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is governance, growth, and global impact. We are with us Malik. With over 3 decades of global leadership across sectors like cement, pharma, auto components, oil and gas equipment, Malik has not only steered businesses across continents but also championed ESG, corporate governance, and startup mentorship. A qualified independent director, a certified ESG and corporate governance professional, a certified startup board professional, and a trusted board advisor. He wears many hats with finesse and foresight. So, in this episode, we explore the multifaceted world of governance, strategy, and mentorship. Hmm? So, Malik, let's welcome to you the coffee conversation.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the opportunity given and the efforts taken by you and your team, wonderful coordination pre-event. Appreciate the efforts the forum takes to bring the professionals into the frame.
Thank you. So, let me explain you. There are 3 rounds: professional journey, personal, and a surprise. The rapid fire, where you will be in the hot seat and you have to be witty, fun, and quick. And here's your inspiration, your gift: niche marketing. So, friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation, legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. So, my first question, Malik, how was the journey shaped up and what were the key defining moments?
Oh, good. So, my journey has been a very motivated one. Initially, probably a bit slow, and because those were the days when large corporations were not in executive. But what it helped me was I need to have a significant learning experience and growth as part of it, and I was constantly challenged to expand my knowledge and also develop new skills. That made a positive and enriching experience as per me. And I would say here that the support of your superior, your colleagues, and your family, and probably the willingness of me to take on new responsibilities probably are fundamental while traversing this journey. But I would second it to say that the opportunity to lead a team of talents beyond your core area. My core area started with finance. And when you move from finance to, I did my HR, some material, business development. And so when you move, you probably need to have a transformative change, pivotal to, and which is not only impactful to the self-development, but also to the organization, I would say. The key moment is I was an young professional, joined in Anand Group those days, and Mr. DC Anand, the chairman, used to nurture this development. And so I moved in Gabriel from a finance to a material in Devas because we started a cellular manufacturing first of shock absorber from Mars. And so I had the opportunity of material and vendor development that made me to even become the plant manager. And so that could be a good change to me from a finance to a general manager and a business leader, because customer relationship started. That is very important for a finance man. And also in Sulzer, when I moved globally for 18 years in different places, it helped me to deal with different cultures. How do you, speak to people? How do you, understand? And even while delegating or while that were the defining moment, I would say as of now.
Wow, beautiful, sir. So, Malik, you have led large scale integration post, sorry, you have led large scale integrations in M&A across continents. What's the most overlooked aspect during a merger that can make or break its success, the M&A
Very,
deal?
very pertinent question. And yeah, I think I've probably done many across the set continent, like you say. I think what we found now, I want to say that none of this is the company's opinion. It's all personal. But what I feel from learning from this thing is, one is cultural fit. Invariably, it is the lack of cultural fit that creates an issue. the ability to handle change management is a key topic. Retention of people, especially the people who have the intellectual capability for which it was acquired, and how do you retain them? Because many times you go for a strategic rationale and you buy a company and you are not able to really come to a conclusion. Do you need your existing guys, or do you need your guys from the new? And that's where and when you do that, the alignment of compensation and the benefits become a big issue, because when you buy a closely held company, which is held for several, has a different culture, and then you come to a large corporation, and then you're not very sure, because sometimes in closely held you have a la carte compensation, and when you come to a structured the other thing I would say is not implementing an integration plan well ahead is a big problem from a strategic fit. So you really one needs to look at what is the kind of issues when you did a due diligence or when the closing condition. Take those topic functionally, assign responsibility to leaders, and then have a steering committee kind of a thing to see and monitor the integration progress. And otherwise you only destroy the value, and for me these could be the typical weaknesses, I would say, or shortcomings when the strategic rationale is not fully achieved.
Wow. So, Malik, ESG become a buzzword in boardrooms. How do you ensure it's genuinely embedded in organizational strategy and not just compliance?
Oh, very good. Now, let me confess to you, ESG, I'm very passionate about it. It's because I think ESG is not about it's also about an individual, how you protect the nature and leave it to your next generation. So from the question of this is, I think most of the top 1000 or 500 companies are able to really do what is necessary from them. But important to go beyond the checklist concept and treat ESG as a core driver for value creation and as a strategic advantage. Now, when you say that, what do you do? So there needs to be a holistic approach that considers ESG across all business functions and integrates it into the company's mission, vision, and value. That means the tone need to be set at the top, right, so that it percolates down and you walk the talk during the. Now, how do you align ESG with the business? It could be starting with the materiality assessment, and once you do the materiality assessment, link it to this. And here the stakeholder engagement is very important. As you know, it could be anyone, could be community, employees, your supplier, and then prioritize based on the impact, what is important not only for you but from them, and then align it. So the decision making processes needs to have ESG embedded in it, as per me. And so that means it's fostering a ESG culture, which not only needs to be engagement but also incentivized to the senior people and down the line, in order to see that this is and I think strengthen governance, because one of the key things that came after BRSR and a lot of the reliability of data was a big thing in the case of ESG. And so leveraging data and kind of technology to get the right thing, the matrices in places will be a great this thing. Now, since this is a topic of governance, what I want to share is the three pillars, E, S, and G. You will find that even though governance is 1/3 of this, but it is still has a very significant impact in the non-compliance of the E and S. So governance play a very key role. So this, as per me, I thought it could be that will help to get a kind of a strategy embedded in your day-to-day.
Wow. So, Malik, how do you define effective governance in today's startup ecosystem versus legacy corporations?
Oh, lovely. I start with, fundamentally the four pillars as per me, for governance, corporate governance, is accountability, transparency, responsibility, and fairness. So this is very, very critical, whether you are legacy or startup. Baiju, Go Mechanic, Gensol, Blue Smart, Medica, all this. So if you really look at, to me, large corporation often prioritize stability, and they have an established structure and a process, and they are very risk averse, and so they have processes too. Whereas in startup, it's characterized by innovation, agility, adaptability, and the guys are willing to take risk, and the generation is such, they have come for it. But normally, I would say the defining characteristics are innovation, growth, the way funded, mechanism, risk tolerance, change management, and then technology adaptation. I think these would be the probably. But if coming back to your question, I would say I think some of the topics why startups failed in the areas, nearly few of them based on the public domain knowledge, is about they started inflating revenues, faking invoices, exaggerated matrices, and so I would say the elements more or less could be same, but in startup probably more clarity in roles and responsibilities. Strategic oversight and the board effectiveness is critical. Transparency in decision making and financial. This is very important, and that's sometimes is an issue in the past in certain startups. And checks on related party transaction. Now this RPT has been probably a big issue, not only for startup, even for legacy. And so that means the culture and the ethical practice that one does needs to be taken care. And if we found also that the alignment between the stakeholders and the long-term vision, probably there is a gap, I would say. Now the question is, if with all this, why do they struggle with governance? So some facts that has come out in certain surveys, the founders still feel that it may slow down their way when you put all this governance, this thing into some. And also they always think that if this is not required now, maybe a way forward requirement. That's because they fear loss of control or autonomy, I would say. But I think it's also to do with lack of resource and know-how topic. I think I also remember when we did our startup board governance, the DPIT said that they are going to put more efforts on flyers on governance in order to see that. But in the long run, it is the structure, discipline, and the values that the investor buy, and not just your pitch deck and your product. I would say that. But I think it's a topic like it will go on for a few years, because the Cressy triangle, which is the pressure, the optimization, and the rationalization, is going to, the greed is something. There is a pressure to show results, and then there is a end up with lack of controls and things like that. It will be a constant this thing. But I think people are putting effort. The question is this good enough?
Wow. So, Malik, what has been your most satisfying experience as a mentor to early stage entrepreneurs?
Oh, I would say that in startups, especially today, everything is a happiness. You are able to make a very successful meeting with an investor. You have some funding. And then your MVPs are in place. So the early, I would say, low-hanging fruits success is also very this thing. But what happens is here, learning from the mistakes or learning from this thing has been very good. I think from a mentor perspective, it's about the fostering relationship. See, I think today, with gray hairs, people like me, it's important for us to come down to several generations and be on the same level with the generation, the founders. Then only they will be able to have the trust. And so it's also learning, I would say, in bargain for the mentors from the mentees on certain insight. That keeps you happiness. And so the styles probably are different, but overall, it is to support them at the time of challenges, not only from a functional expertise, but also from an emotional exercise. And so whenever there is an idea validation, redefining the business models, or navigating difficult situations, and so it helps to you get a feel that okay, our steps are right, and you feel happy that the emotional support in a burnout situation has been better. So that's I would say. So adapting and willingness to switch to styles is what should give an happiness to a mentor, I think.
Wow. So, in your board advisory roles, what do you see as the biggest gap in boardroom discussions today?
Oh, very this thing. Now, I would answer this one from a learning experience. The other is from a hearing experience. As you know, I part of IOD, part of MMB, and I visit a lot of. So what I mean, looking at the various this thing, and also what I feel is, I think the discussions now again. The top companies probably have the best of both. They go through, and it's not so easy in the time span to look at. But discussion beyond financial metrics is what is very, very important. Now, okay, we have gone to non-financial from other sustainability things like that, but just discussing financial and moving away from it is what is very important. So that means culture could be people, succession planning, innovation, it could be technology gap. And today, whether how does AI impact in boardroom could be a topic that they have to take it with some kind of strength and without fear. So the other thing is the broader impact of business decision beyond financial. That probably doesn't come so much when you do, because the agendas or the topics are a little bit structured in the more focus on stakeholder engagement is important. I think some of them largely coming up because of sustainability reporting and CSR activities, and more so I think deliberate more about long-term perspective, because many of them try to look at short-term, not look at long-term. And I would say that probably it's not so easy. Sometimes you have 500, 600 pages of document to review, and then in 3, 4 hours, you will not be able to. But so more advisory board roles that can be delegated by board could be crucial this to bridge that gap in certain areas of expertise, like technology or artificial intelligence and things like that. I would say, based on what I could hear and learn from what it is, it's happening. But yes, it depends on what kind of company and what is the need also from the stakeholder perspective.
Wow. So, Malik, you have been a faculty mentor at leading institutions. What's one thing you believe every aspiring director must understand early on?
Oh, wonderful. I mean, today IDs are a buzzword. It's become a big this thing. But I always tell because I do faculty for master class, I always say that everyone must take efforts to first understand the concept of fiduciary duties early on, which is duty of care, loyalty, and obedience, which are legal obligation. And these are in the best interest of company, stakeholders, and the environment. The Companies Act is very clear. The liabilities are also very. So understanding and familiarizing the duties are crucial to ensuring responsible governance that probably can avoid penalties. So the other thing is this important for them to understand the purpose, the processes, people, and the performance metrics. So that's important. And more so from a dynamic board behavior, every director aspiring should understand that they are part of a team and they are responsible to contribute positively to the environment, because you are being watched. Whether you are an ID or an executive, you are being watched by everyone involved. And so it's important that they understand early on the fiduciary duty and the consequences of not having gone through it.
Wow. So, Malik, can you share a moment in your professional journey that significantly challenged your beliefs or decision making style?
Ah, so I mean, see, luckily I've worked with companies that had very good ethics and governance, and so we didn't have to do much of, I would say, uh, our businesses were straight, and but to me, I always think that if you do things right, everything will fall in place from whatever I mean, it's important to see that, you drive, you see that your people are in the best morale. And so have the right system and have the right people and have processes and things that are clear, be transparent with people, and that probably will be able to help to take to the vision or the values that the company takes to. But uh, I think overall, I would say the things have changed. And so there's a lot of difference between being in a multinational, working across the globe, because it also depends on where like say, if you are selling your company to Middle East or some part of Africa, mostly agent based kind of now those are things where your value system needs to be right in order to, so you don't just sell for the sake of it, so that's very critical, I would say.
Wow, beautiful. So, Malik, who has influenced you professionally and personally? And
Ah,
what are the
wonderful.
learnings you received from them?
Okay. I would say initial age, I think my father was a strong influence, because I think he was a very, very senior leadership position those days in General Insurance Corporation. He has also gone through other companies, and he was more into HR, finance, legal, and also he was the one who started training and real estate kind of and he the one who moved me from a science stream to a commerce stream. And he said, no, no, the world will take towards. So yeah, a little bit influence, I would say. And I would, I had a very wonderful time of 10 years in Anand Group. And Mr. Deep Sea Anand was a great charmer and nurture of people. And so he was great in his vision and his way of handling things. I had some wonderful superiors who, helped me during that period in the early stage to help me. And those are influential, and those kind of people have helped me not only in presentation and how do you present, what do you present in negotiation. It's about intelligentsia, not only what you know, but in looking at what the audience is.
Wow. So, my last question for your professional journey round, from being a CFO, company secretary, to now mentoring startups, how has the leadership style evolved over the years?
Oh, that's a very tough one, because I think, uh, see, as a finance guy, traditionally, you start only questioning people on cost, why this has happened, why that has not happened. And then so that probably on the other side, I always used to look at you like this fellow just keep questioning, he doesn't probably understand that. So when I moved from finance to, I understood that uh, a cost of freight in a cellular manufacturing just in time is much more value added than asking a question on it. So I would say the transformation happened in the style of your leadership, not only looking at, so I would say the self influencing reflection and embracing the styles is what is important. And for me, I think since I worked in different countries, different companies, I had to adapt myself to the culture. Second is my superiors were also different. So to each one of them, I learned. And so the willingness to switch styles to match the people in the organization is what is important when you are at the leadership position. Now coming to startup mentoring, it's a bit slightly different. I would say the style today that I look at it is about transformational style, visionary, coaching style is very important, and then servant leadership. Now servant leadership is more about building trust and loyalty from the mentee, so that the mentees feel valued about it, because you need to involve them if you really want to, because a mentor in a startup is not getting into the day to day. He only is a hands off from the kind of day to day working. I think these styles definitely is helping towards embracing a relationship that is win-win for both. I think for me, I would say I always look at understand my own strength and weaknesses to effectively guide others about the change, sharing knowledge and experience. So I would say that yes, it was a big, I think the turning point for me was when I started doing HR in the organization. So when you go from a hard to a soft, this thing, when you look at soft, you look at, then you try to, you change yourself first rather than asking others. So I think that mentor, sometimes it's a natural leadership quality when you do mentorship. So that's what I would say from my experience as of now.
Wow.
And what helped also is sometimes, since I am also a certified mediator, in during mediation, especially with IICI mediation, we have a lot of training on negotiation, cognitive bias, and about the psychology of looking at two. So when you have problem with two founders, or you try to look at it and give them the aspect in order to resolve the situation amicably. So
Wow. Okay. Let's go to the next round and understand Malik as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
oh, great. That's, I think family is the. So, me, my wife, and my daughter, I have only one child. My daughter is in Cambridge. She's married in US, and that is, they are probably, uh, I would say, one of the important bases in my growth, and without them, it wouldn't have happened. I have an elder sister in Chennai, and younger brother in Dallas. He's been there for several years. I said about my father in this thing. Yes, my early part, I lived in Chennai, then moved to Mumbai for school, then back to Chennai for CA, company secretary, and things like that. But I think I would say I have moved to several, I think probably 17 locations I have moved in my life. So that
Wow.
is a lot. It helped not only to understand culture, but also to my daughter, who she may always crib. I never have a friend for more than 2, 3 years, but it helped to look at from a broader horizon. I would say, I think the early days of those days was more about, I would say, family, friends, and not about having video games and things like that. So that I would say that.
Wow. As you said in the conversation, you lived in 17 different places around the world. Which city or place is close to your heart and why?
Yeah, I think when you say that, when you go to Chennai, then you feel you are initially there from. When you go to Mumbai, you feel the study days, the young friends of those days. So I would say, I cannot rank it, but within India, Chennai, Mumbai has been very close to me, even though I live in Pune. And outside, I would say, from a very quality of life, and also very structured, and is Switzerland. I would say that it was very good. And for an Indian, I thought that I spent 8 years in Singapore. It was good because they are also very disciplined, and also for us, and uh, the kind of networking that we have, that was also very good. I would say these from the
Wow.
list.
So, what's one personal habit or hobby that keeps you grounded amidst your intense professional life?
Mm, I would say that. I think I always look at it from the perspective that you do your work, and whether you get the reward for it or not is something you need to. So what you deserve, you will get, and what you get, you deserve it. So I would, but normally I'm someone who would like to very methodical and like to do things right, and so that probably the
Wow. So tell us about a family tradition or value that has stuck with you throughout your entire career.
ah okay. So I think uh, obviously I have no this thing to say. We are very ardent Sai devotees. Okay. And now when I say it is just it is from a tradition, and then the family tradition is tied to probably cultural, spiritual, and personal values, I would say. And when you do that, that means you are the moral values by which you guide your children to trying to stretch them where they come from, what their family stands for, and then instilling a sense of identity, which can be particularly comforting and a basis for them to navigate future. Now, whether you cannot control it, in this generation. After that, you only can leave it. But yes, it definitely, if you have given them 100, they will remember 50, and then somebody will be. But respect, caring, and for elders and community service has been the values, and those we try to even today I try to see that Saturday Sunday we try to do some volunteering of through the some of these activities, that going to the hospital, serving people, and those kind of things are something that very important, because it naturally brings a governance in your individual. Unless you are individually a person of good governance, you will not be able to come up to. I would rather say that.
Wow. So, Malik, do you have a favorite book or movie that you
Oh,
go back to for inspiration or comfort?
oh. Normally, to be frank with you, I'm not a big fictional reader, even from my childhood. But if you ask me, I do a lot of business, but The Goal by Jack Welch was a great book for me, because it was those days giving great this thing to about how do you debug inventory, or a lot of stuff from. So The Goal was great, and Good to Great by Jim Collins was a great book, and there are a few more. So I do this come. I would say that those have been very good. You go back sometimes to even refer what kind of strategy you need to adapt, because these are demonstrated. And when it comes to movie, I mean, not so much, but I would say one or two historical characters of movie have been very inspiring, from how somebody, like, say, in Mahabharata there is a character called Karna, that he went through an amazing this thing. If you keep yourself in his position, and how you look at the world, people, what you need to really, he was one of the best from a situational leadership kind of guy, so that I would say that.
Wow. So, Malik, suppose if you could take a month off, where would you go and why?
Oh, I'm a very poor holidaying guy, so my superiors in Europe always used to say that you never. But I would say I would spend my time wonderfully with the loved ones. Maybe take off and visit my family. Maybe meet my friends, my childhood friends. We are still very strong in our communication and helping each other. I think that's something that I would probably do to this thing. But I love walking. I love keeping myself fit. So I would spend more time there, and also would probably help my wife in cooking a bit. And the show is great because I'm a real coffee passionate. Typical South Indian. for me, filter coffee in the morning by myself is a passion. So I would try several combinations of coffee.
Wow.
I would say I'm not a guy who would be surfing, skiing, and all those stuff, but someone who would take it, and music is my passion. Listen to something and look at, so that's what I would say. To be frank with you.
Wow. If your friends had to describe you in 3 words, what would they say?
Oh, if my friends, they would say that, okay, he's very warm, communicative, dependable, and very organized. That's what they would probably look at it.
Wow. So, my last two questions are reflective. What legacy would you like to leave behind?
I would like to say is, that be humble in your approach, be grounded, and always look at your weakness and take somebody's strength. If you start looking at somebody's weakness, it will never end in your. It's for you to see that you create something that you have to change. So that means I would say, uh, if I say that let me be the change that one wish to see in the world, so that means I need to be the one, I would say. But I think I would always say that you do your duty, and in the right way you will be get back. I say this because many youngsters want to just become the change they want to happen just by overnight. It takes time. Be patient, have faith in yourself, and develop your knowledge and learn from your experience. You'll reach there.
Wow. So, my last one is a googly one. Describe Malik in one line.
Oh, see, in one line, I would say, okay, I would say that a result-oriented people's person and a natural leader uh, from the perspective. That's what I would say.
Wow. Beautiful. So, let's put you in the hot seat, the rapid fire round. Your go to comfort food.
Hmm?
Your go to comfort food.
Food. Oh, okay. I would go to comfort food. Always idli vada.
Wow. Your all time favorite boardroom buzzword.
Uh, it's always about profitability and whether have you complied with everything, and so that's what it's about. Have you done what has been planned or what has been said to
Wow.
the stakeholders?
Beautiful. The one startup you wish you had mentored.
I don't have anything like that, but I would see today, since my time, but in my time, it was more about the old economy companies. I would rather like to nurture or mentor still a company which is more into product manufacturing and that kind of, because it's today it's more about services, and so I am trying to be in discussion with someone. So I would love to do product manufacturing mentoring, because I think I can add value and be part of their dreams realization.
Wow. Excel or PowerPoint?
PowerPoint and
Wow.
Excel, but I would say first Excel is from a finance person perspective, and PowerPoint from an visibility perspective.
Morning meetings or late night strategy calls?
Anything is okay, but I would call morning meeting, because you're fresh and you don't know the ball seaming both from your boss side and your side. It's important morning meeting.
Wow. A book you think every leader must read?
I would still say gold, because it moved from the traditional way of looking at things towards this thing. From I only talk of business because I'm not such a big fictional guy, but I always say gold is a book that everyone must read. It really makes you to look at change as a thought process.
Hmm. Governance or growth?
Governance.
Your favorite color?
Blue.
Coffee or coconut water?
Coffee.
Yes, nice, nice. You did well, Malik, and here's a book which will be autographed and sent to you. So, friends, it was a lovely conversation. All those professionals out there who want to scale their operations to take it a global level, watch the episode where Malik has taken us to a journey of strategy, M&A, governance, ESG, mentoring, so many things. So, watch the episode, you'll get a lot of insights and imbibe them and take your career to global level. If you want to connect with Malik, his details will be there in the caption. So, like that, there are 500 coffee speakers who have shared the inspiring journey, professional, personal. Uh, and if you're in the future like Malik, visit our website, the Emerging India Forum, or LinkedIn page, or connect with a coffee speaker. They would invite you, means send a message to a team and invite you to have coffee conversations. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Amir sir, and thanks for to the forum for giving this opportunity and wonderful support. And I think it's not so easy to run these kind of programs every day. With then you need to have the best of people, and people make the difference. No wonder you are doing so many shows. Wonderful and great talking to you, and looking forward seeing you in person sometime somewhere
Sure.
and. Take it from there.